Disney's $350 million live-action remake is now officially rated worse on IMDb than The Human Centipede. This is part of her new strategy to win people over. She hit Instagram with a post not about her acting or the movie or even an apology to all the fans for her nonstop foot and mouth disorder. No. And then whatever she does, stop pulling these transparent Hollywood PR stunts. They're not connecting her to people, especially as the film is in the bottom of the top 10 charts in last place. Everybody seems to know why it's failed except Zegler.
Rachel Zegler is in full meltdown mode after Disney pulled every trace of her Snow White remake from theaters and store shelves.
Is going after Sony, Paramount, and Lionsgate for terminating her contract.
Sure, Disney had to do something to salvage what's left of its legacy, but yanking the entire movie? That feels like serious overkill.
There's no way to rehab Disney's image after 4 weeks of Snow White humiliation.
Let's be honest, Rachel wasn't the only one involved in this project. Now, the hard work of dozens, maybe hundreds, has been thrown away, all because of one actress's public outbursts.
This way to tank your career, go out there and start running your mouth and trashing the original IP of the film you're in.
And to think, many believed Rachel Zegler's career was on a meteoric rise, hot off her breakout role in West Side Story and Disney's grand announcement that she would be the next Snow White. The industry was buzzing. It was supposed to be magical. Spoiler, it wasn't.
To go on this little baby rant about Rachel Zegler, Disney's worst investment ever in the history of Disney investment.
Then Disney made a jaw-dropping move, pulling her Snow White remake entirely. That's right. A film starring Disney's supposed Golden Girl got yanked faster than you can say PR nightmare.
Rachel Zegler is a loudmouth dope.
Snow White producer's son blames Rachel Zegler for poor box office.
How did we get here? Let's just say it wasn't about the CGI or her acting. This was self-sabotage of epic proportions. And to top it off, The Simpsons turned her entire career into a national punchline.
She has this underlying anger and hatred in her that always has to take it like one step too far. So first and foremost, if you're going to be cast as Snow White, maybe appreciate the original Snow White.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
God forbid a woman dream about true love. We're all just sitting around here, oh, maybe I could be president one day. I hate men, I just want to be president.
At first, Zegler's idea of reimagining Snow White as a leader instead of a love-struck girl sounded refreshing. Who doesn't love a strong feminist spin? But the moment she started talking, really talking, the brakes screeched on her rising fame.
Do you want to be Snow White or do you hate Snow White? Do you want to destroy Snow White? They went way too woke. They ended up kind of changing the whole movie.
She notoriously claimed, it's no longer 1937 and the prince is a stalker. And just like that, her fairy tale clock struck midnight. That comment? Not well received.
Everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. That at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see her.
Critics didn't exactly applaud a lead actress who dismissed the classic plot and labeled the prince a creep. Because who needs romance when you can preach an agenda, right?
When a cartoon character that was voiced in the 30s has more humanity and charm than the actual person who was filmed on screen in live action, that's a problem.
And she didn't stop there. Zegler went further, calling the prince weird. For those familiar with Disney classics, Snow White's prince is anything but stalkerish.
You just have to note the smugness and superiority on this 23, 25, something like that, girl's face. Young, a little bit of humility, you know? This is a story that's been around for a long, long time. You're not improving on it. So they took out the famous theme song, Someday My Prince Will Come, because it's not fair for a woman to live for love or want to find love or want to find a prince.
He's, well, a prince doing classic prince things. Romantic, heroic, fairy tale worthy. But to Zegler, apparently, that was weird.
I mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
It seemed like turning a cherished character into a feminist symbol mattered more to her than preserving Disney's legacy. The movie wasn't even released yet, and she'd already alienated half the fan base. Then came her Free Palestine tweet, right in the middle of her Snow White press tour. Instead of promoting the film, she dropped a politically charged bomb. And just to cement the chaos, she told critics, "Unfollow me." Because nothing says Hollywood professional like telling your fans to get lost.
BBC said Disney's Snow White has a major identity crisis. I mean, guys, every single one of these reviews is just absolutely...
But wait, this was just the beginning. The Simpsons stepped in next. Their episode Snow Woke didn't just mock her version of Snow White, it absolutely torched it. She was portrayed as a non-stop feminist rant machine.
And this bed is just like the first one.
In the parody, she lectures reporters, calls the prince a toxic archetype, and claims the dwarfs represent exploited labor. Honestly, The Simpsons didn't need to exaggerate a thing. They just quoted her real interviews. Brutal.
The film is apparently just that bad.
And how did Zegler respond to this public roasting? She went silent. No tweets, no statements, not even a "this hurts my feelings" Instagram story.
Wins, and Rachel decides to go on really just a psychopathic, demented rant, basically accusing all Trump supporters of being awful people, which is par for the course. I'm okay with that. But then she wished harm on Trump and all of his supporters for the next years to come. And you're so out of touch. You've never probably even spoken to a farmer or a rancher. You don't know any people to speak up who have issues filling up their tank. You've just been living in Hollywood, La La Land for so long.
This wasn't minor gossip. The Simpsons is cultural royalty. They dissected her persona with surgical precision. Zegler's silence didn't look strategic. It looked like surrender. And while Disney had already started pulling promotion, the internet wasn't done with her.
Are there any dwarves in your story?
Yes, but they're my own original creation.
The episode went viral. Memes, TikToks, side-by-sides exploded online. Her real-life quotes were now memes. She had no way to defend herself. Meanwhile, Disney shifted promo efforts to focus on VFX and Gal Gadot. Yes, Gadot. Not Zegler.
Funny, Bart. Millions of girls will grow up thinking that this is the right way to act.
Zegler's career took a nosedive no one saw coming. From Disney darling to industry cautionary tale, her PR nightmare left Hollywood executives rattled. Even Netflix producers reportedly put projects on hold, calling her radioactive.
We are the girls and the gays. We all want a man. We all dream about true love. So Disney, that is not out.
Within hours of Snow Woke airing, the internet lit up. TikToks, memes, YouTube edits. Everywhere you looked, Rachel Zegler was being clowned on. Her Snow White dream had become an online feeding frenzy.
Does it mean that it's no longer 1937? And we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
Not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
The viral wave was intense. Fans weren't just laughing, they were remixing Zegler's own interviews against The Simpsons' savage parody. She tried rewriting Snow White's story, but the internet rewrote hers first.
This way to tank your career, go out there and start running your mouth and trashing the original IP of the film you're in.
The impact was massive. Her line, "I'm not here to be loved, I'm here to lead," became meme of the year. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, everyone was quoting it. Why? Because it perfectly matched the cartoon version of her. Too perfectly.
Big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
And the kicker? Audiences loved the parody, not just because The Simpsons hit hard, but because it felt real. Zegler's attempt to modernize Snow White backfired big time. Instead of inspiring fans, she alienated them.
Rights are on the line, folks. Our reproductive rights.
Ugh.
Come on,
Go get Cheshire Cat.
go vote blue. And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button.
The real damage came when public opinion turned. She wasn't just a controversial actress, she became a symbol of Hollywood's tone-deaf reboots. The Simpsons didn't just parody Snow White, they tore into Zegler's entire persona.
I see exactly what you mean. This is a problem. But what do you expect me to do?
Change what she says. It's your company.
Social media exploded. Reddit threads, YouTube commentaries, and tweets mocked her for missing what made Snow White timeless. Instead of honoring the role, Zegler pushed an agenda. People weren't buying it.
Get under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under there.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the Patriots.
Then came phase 2. Radio silence. No tweets, no explanations, nothing. Was she under a Disney gag order, strategizing behind the scenes, or simply overwhelmed by the backlash?
Snow White slept and waited for her prince to come, but he never did. Because a woman shouldn't have to depend on a man. Snow White was brought back to life by a lady doctor.
And she lived happily ever after?
Well, she couldn't indulge in strenuous activities like handball, but otherwise, she was fine.
That's not...
Her silence raised more questions than answers. After a takedown that public saying nothing looked like panic. PR teams scrambled, but the damage was spreading fast.
Idiot I've been as a young person in this industry who has no filter and no idea what she's doing.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business.
Weird.
Their job now? To patch a sinking ship in real time. Was Zegler's silence a genius deflection or a collapse under pressure? In Hollywood, silence isn't power, it's weakness.
Weird.
I don't need your business.
And day by day, it became clear. The Simpsons had landed a lethal blow, one that couldn't be laughed off or ignored. Zegler's Hollywood path suddenly looked uncertain, and maybe even unsalvageable.
This is no ordinary apple, my dear. It's a magic wishing apple.
A wishing apple?
You offer it to me freely. In place of the patriarchy, you would have a queen! Not white, but diverse, inclusive, and equitable!
Hollywood is famous for comebacks, but in Zegler's case, it doesn't look promising. With Disney backing off, appearances canceled, and public support vanishing, her future is shaky. Publicists are trying to spin the story, but the longer she stays silent, the more the internet takes over. And the internet? It doesn't forgive easily.
I will become the leader I know I can be! All shall love me and despair!
Oh, what has she done to you? Fear not, First Love's kiss can break any curse.
Rachel Zegler is in full meltdown mode after Disney pulled every trace of her Snow White remake from theaters and store shelves.